All right. So what I wanted to do is just basically hot wash and talk about the wedding we did. Oh, that was fun. Co-officiating the wedding.
Co-officiating. And here's the thing, everybody. Um, Mo and I have really we've really delved into like what is it that we do? Because we do a lot of things and all of those things are quite random. So it's like, how can we take the randomness and make it make sense? Making sense out of randomness
And so
since
that's why we're
2018.
asking for your help because we don't know. We don't have to.
So we've decided that we, number one, our main moniker is that we are entertainers. And if you met us, we hope that it's been entertaining. So we are entertainers who we are entertainers who do trivia. We are entertainers who have a podcast, entertainers who speak, and now apparently we're entertainers who do weddings.
Not apparently, definitely. But I think the bottom line, and one of the things that, and see, you're getting the nitty gritty. So this is how Katie and I prepare in hot wash. But one of the things that we had agreed on before is our goal is to create unforgettable experiences. So entertainers who create unforgettable experiences through trivia, through weddings, through singing, through doing parodies, through doing spoofs and all this other stuff. So the bottom line is we want to create unforgettable experiences. Now,
Absolutely.
I think, and I've heard this a lot in my life. And so, Katie, I don't know if you've heard this a lot in your life, but I have a lot of people, and I've been trying to bring this out in my personal brand, but a lot of people think that I just step into something and I'm goofy and I'm ridiculous, and I just go
You
and do
are.
that. I am, however, comma,
However,
Oxford, comma. I don't think a lot of people, and I think people think the same thing about us. I think the
yes.
same that people just assume that we do. And we do have a lot of natural chemistry, and I'm grateful for that. So a lot of things that we do happen naturally. However, comma, I think it's important that people understand that we work hard at
Yes.
seeming seeming haphazard or casual and stuff like that. So there is a lot of hard work and a lot of rehearsal. And I know that I need a lot of rehearsal. And Katie will tell you the best thing I ever said about agreeing to do improv with you was what?
She said, I'll do improv. I just need you to write me a script. To
There you
which I
go.
said, I don't think that's how that works, Mo.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, yeah, we did have we had our transitions
yes.
scripted when we did improv. But yeah, that's one thing that I appreciate about you, Mo. And in the 5 years that you and I have been working together, I feel like you have helped me elevate my performance prep as well, because there is just such there's such a wonderful payoff when you're prepared,
Mm-hmm.
because it allows you're still going to have to pivot. Things are still going to happen that you don't expect, but you never want the things that you don't expect to be the things that you could have prepared for.
Right.
And even doing this wedding, I mean, we could tell story after story of events that we've done where something has happened that we didn't expect, but because we knew our material, you're able to stand on that better and pivot. And even if you're not like off script, at least you know the gist of what you're doing as you pivot around things.
I think you talk with your students a lot too, is that preparing for not if something is going to go wrong, but being prepared for when something goes wrong.
Not even wrong, but if something's going to go away that you don't expect.
Okay.
So something could happen and it not necessarily be a bad thing that happens or a wrong thing that happens, but it's something that you weren't anticipating. You are ready to adjust.
Yeah. So, okay. I like that clarification, but I come at it from a little bit, my degree of preparation is rooted in a different aspect.
Okay.
I prepare a lot, and I won't say that I over prepare, but I definitely prepare more than most people think, and I definitely prepare more than most people prepare. I'll just say that. And I'm okay with that. I think you should be too. Anyway, but the reason I prepare and the reason I want a script for improv and the reason I need everything written out first before I go execute is so that, number one, I can be prepared for the unexpected. But really, my main reason for preparing for things and to the level that I prepare for things is so that I can enjoy it. Like, I'm not worried about being word for word on the script or worrying about what I'm going to say or worrying about the next transition. I want to be like fully present so I can appreciate and enjoy everything, because I've told you this before. A lot of times when I go on stage, when I get done, what's the first thing I ask you when I get off stage?
You say, did I land the plane sometimes? But then you also ask me if it was in English
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep. So, yeah, we can delve into a bunch of little stories to include when Katie complimented me on my salute after the end of my TEDx talk, which I have no recollection of. All that to say is,
that's the best story, though.
I know. When I go on stage, I don't remember what I said. Like, and I come off stage, I'm like, I don't know if I spoke English. I don't know. I just kind of black out. But I do know that when I'm on stage, I am fully present and I get to see, like, I remember seeing your face in the audience, or I get to see and I get to notice things that I wouldn't get to notice if I wasn't prepared. So all the whole thing that we wanted to do this call for is tell you that we do work very hard at looking like we're just goofballs. We are just goofballs on a daily basis.
But we're scripted goofballs. So
there you go. That. We script. Yeah. Yes. So one of the things that we do, so we do a lot of preparation leading up to any given event, to include trivia, to include weddings, to include panels, to include keynotes, to include workshops, all those things. And we rehearse those things. But we don't just stop at the event. And that one of the speeches I give is called Suck, Squeeze, Bang, Blow. And so now we're going to do the blow part. So seeing as how I have people banging out in the front yard, I have 2 dogs whining downstairs. We're going to do the blow now.
Okay.
And basically, I think what you've taught me is the 4 helpfuls. Give a little bit of guidance to hot wash, debrief, postmortem, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So what went right?
Oh, good.
What went wrong? What was missing, and what was confusing? And the idea behind what went right, so we can celebrate that. What went wrong, so we can address it and kind of diagnose that, so it won't go wrong the next time we do something similar. What was missing,
and you can also determine if what went wrong was within your control or not.
Yeah. So what was missing? So like what? And a lot of times this is part of the thing. We actually pre-hot wash things as a part of the rehearsal process. So we'll rehearse something and then we'll look at it through the lens of the after the fact. But we'll look at through the lens. Okay, what went right in that rehearsal? What went wrong in that rehearsal? What was missing or what was confusing? Then we fix those things. So a lot of times we do this. We even hot wash our rehearsals. Like we film stuff and then we watch it and like just dorks. I mean, I'm just realizing what
we're dorks, guys. Just
we're so okay with it. We have accepted it. We need you to be okay with us being dorks
we need
too.
You to be okay with it.
But now that the event is over, and we were even hot washing, I'd say up until about 30 minutes prior, because we couldn't find a duck. So I'll let you tell that whole story of what we had planned. And even that wasn't part of the plan until that morning. And then the plan got adjusted 30 minutes prior.
All based on a duck.
Okay, so I'll let you talk about that, Katie.
So the couple that was getting married, John and Leah, and congratulations to John and Leah, by the way. We're really happy for you guys. They are, among many things, they are Jeep enthusiasts. And then if any of you are part of the Jeep community, you know that rubber ducks are also a part of the Jeep community. So it's a Jeep thing. And I would imagine a lot of you know that. So Mo, and if I can just take a little sidebar and just a Mo appreciation moment for a second. Mo is an amazing writer. She is such an incredible writer. Thoughtful, clever, everything worked into her writing. And she wrote this script that was just masterful. And if you don't, get her emails or whatever, please do yourself a favor because her writing is just stellar. So Mo had written into the script some Jeep references. And what we were going to do is every time Mo made a Jeep reference, whether it be overt or subtle, I, from the keyboard, was going to squeak a duck. Well, I'm playing the pre-service music, and Mo comes over to me and says, "We forgot to grab the duck." And I'm like, "Okay, well, it's in my bag." She's like, "Okay, I'll go find it." Well, Mo looks in my bag. What we found out later,
I looked in the wrong bag.
She looked in the wrong bag. We couldn't find the duck. So we had to make a last minute decision, and we hated to do this, but we're like, we're cutting the bit with the squeaky duck. But it ended up working out for the better because John and Leah's dogs were part of the ceremony, Allie and Winston. They ended up standing right beside where I was.
And guys, these are not small dogs.
Winston is a Great Dane. He's a puppy, but he's a Great Dane and he's huge. if I had squeaked a duck, I don't even know what would have happened. So, and the references that Mo had made in the script to me squeaking the duck, she had to very immediately pivot, and you could not even tell that there was an adjustment to the script. So it was something that we couldn't make it right before the wedding started, but it ended up being the right choice. So we just had to kind of trust the whole process there. So so all dependent on a rubber duck squeaking, or further not squeaking, which is what happened.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it was neat too, and I think I think one of the things that went right, and again, I have experience as a photographer, and I have shot some weddings. But one of the things we did is one of the things that we did right, and I'm not talking about just the ceremony itself, but we got a relationship with the sound guy, Todd, who ended up being the DJ as well. We didn't know that, but he was the sound guy, and he was just awesome. And so we kind of bonded with him, just kind of setting up ahead of time. And we also introduced ourselves to the photographer. And the reason I did that is because the father of the bride is a huge Monty Python's fan. So I had 2 coconut halves. And if you're a Monty Python's or Holy Grail fan, you'll understand the 2 coconut halves reference. And so as he was making his way back to his seat after giving away his daughter to her soon-to-be husband, I said, halt. And I said, an African swallow had migrated with these 2 coconut halves. And he actually went back to his seat, clumping the coconut halves like a horse that it's supposed to be.
Perfect.
But I told the photographer ahead of time. Now she knows what to look for, and she knows how to position herself. And I'm grateful for it, because now I'm hoping that there will be pictures of Bill clumping these 2 halves of a coconut together. So again, that was something we did right. We struck up the right relationships with Todd and with Nicole, the sound guy, the DJ, and the photographer. So when I look at what went wrong, so again, what went right, I mean, that was one thing. I don't know,
I think the dry erase board, we can't talk about the wedding without talking about our trip to Target and creating a dry erase board for the wedding party, which we nailed to an outside fence, and just had the order of everybody written on it.
Mother of the bride was going to be walked down to her seat by one of her sons, but that son was also the best man. And so George sprints back to groomsmen. So it was kind of like he would walk his mom down, and then he had to sprint back. And so,
and the board literally said, George sprints back. And George was like, am I really supposed to sprint? We're like, yes, George, you are supposed to sprint.
You actually helped me with some of the stuff that was either missing or confusing at the get-go when we were first writing the script, because we hadn't talked about how we knew John and Leah, or that we knew John and Leah. So that was something early on in the script versions. You helped me, we met them when we were hosting trivia at 10 Night Brewing Company. And so we added that into the script to just kind of give some context to that we knew the couple and how we knew the couple.
And another thing, I think, leveraging that I work with people that perform, and you get used to managing reactions of the audience. There were times where we'd be practicing and I would remind Mo, like, you're probably going to get a laugh on this line. You're going to need to wait for the laugh to be over. We also swapped the last 2 lines of the script, because I knew once she said, presenting for the new couple, that the crowd, that like the audience would cheer, and that would be it. You wouldn't get them back for another line. So we switched those lines. So just leveraging both of our experience, because I mean, it is a performance at the end of the day. You are doing something in front of an audience. So, so I appreciate Mo trusting me and letting me speak into, thinking about navigating it with a live audience, which is a little bit different than just managing a script. So,
the other thing that Katie and I do very, very deliberately is what we call energy mapping, for lack of a better word. And in this case, it wasn't so much the energy as it was, I guess I would either call it levity mapping or sincerity mapping. Because one of the, or even Jeep reference mapping. Oh, and also the groom, John, is a huge Star Wars fan. So we were mapping, I'll just call it references, cultural reference mapping, levity mapping, and sincerity mapping. Yeah. And so that was something that we did very intentionally too. We would look at, hey, we're kind of going to this very, and I'm not, again, not to make light of anything, but I think at a wedding, and in order for us to make something unforgettable, you want you don't want all the jokes up front or all the references clumped together, but you want to pepper them through so that people can kind of ride with you and get taken out of the depth of the power of the ceremony, or make it too light for too long, but you just kind of pepper it through. So that's another thing.
One of the bridesmaids actually said that. She said she would just get to a point where it was getting really sentimental and she would start to cry, and then Mo would say something funny. So it was really beautifully navigated by the way that you wrote it, Mo, and the way you presented it. I will say, if we want to jump to what went wrong, I will say one word, and that word is mosquitoes.
Oh God. Yeah.
We were all getting bit by mosquitoes because this Chesapeake Bay Environmental Center is lovely, but it's like we're literally in the middle of the marsh, which is beautiful, but it was a little kind of humid, and not hot, but humid and a little buggy. So I wish we had some deep woods off to spray on our
that's fair. That's fair.
Legs and arms.
Yeah.
I did the night before the wedding smack the bride in the side of the head because she had a mosquito on her head.
I didn't see the mosquito. I did see the smack on the side of the head.
Leah.
Yeah, no, I thought honestly, when we look at what went right, what went wrong, what was missing, and what was confusing, I think because we had done those four helpfuls along the way, weeks prior, that, now next time we'll pack I think mosquitoes will be on our radar next time, just because it wasn't this time. Which is kind of the whole point of lessons learned, because as I say in Suck, Squeeze, Bang, Blow, my presentation, the blow from one thing becomes the suck for the next squeeze, bang. So and if you don't know that reference, sorry. I will say another thing, by making the relationship with Nicole, the photographer, later on, because, and again, I don't know that she would have said something, maybe she would have, but it made it a lot. She wasn't even a jerk the way she said it. But basically what she was letting me know is, when I say, you may now kiss your bride, I was going to say dick, right? She said, when you say now you can kiss the bride, she goes, can you move out of the way so that the picture is just, I said, are you asking me to, she goes, yeah. So I wrote in the script, and she saw me, I wrote in caps, all bold, in red, GTFO, the way. And she goes, yes, absolutely. She repeated what it said, what it meant. And but had I not written that in the script, I probably would have forgotten. So again, that's one thing, is that, first of all, hearing it, yeah, that's great. But when I type it in, it actually kind of solidifies in my mind. And then I saw it, and I picked up the music stand that I was using as a podium and got out of the way. They did their smooches and we got back in the way.
There's something really interesting to me about what happens with the brain when we're in front of an audience versus when we're practicing. And if I can sidebar just for a second, I noticed this when Mo and I recently did an improv festival at the Conejo Valley Improv Festival in Thousand Oaks, California. And we had, again, practiced our script quite a bit. And we have a song that we do at the beginning. So it's funny, like we've sung the song 100 times to prepare. Mm-hmm. When we were in front of the audience, I noticed my brain didn't want to grab the lyrics like I knew it. But because we had practiced so much, my muscle memory kicked in. So it's like, don't trust that you're going to remember things. Don't trust that things are going to come as naturally to you in practice as they do in performance. You've got to communicate to yourself and write yourself the notes in order to know that. So I think that's really smart that you did that, Mo, just knowing that your brain multitasking in the moment probably wouldn't have remembered to do that. So there's something that happens in performance where we've got to help ourselves.
Yeah.
By prepping ourselves well. Another thing that I did that I'm really glad I did was and this is kind of a musical logistical thing, but I play all my music off of an iPad, and the program I use, I've got to exit the document and for each piece of music. I took all the processional music and merged it into one document. So all I was doing was flipping pages. And I'm glad I did that, because it would have been a mess, me trying to close docs and open docs. It would have been kind of a hot mess.
Do you want to talk about your page turning pedal?
So that was another thing I had to pivot with. So I'm standing on grass, a sustain pedal and a page turning pedal. And usually I do the page turning with my left foot and the sustain with my right foot. Well, because we were on grass, we had gotten some boards to elevate the pedals. Because I was standing and because the boards were elevated, I found out that I could not have both feet doing something at once. So I very quickly made the decision to surrender the page turning pedal, and I would just turn pages with my hands, which, like, isn't that what normal humans do? But for me,
but Katie is not a normal human. So, but yes, you're right. The common folk do use their hands to turn pages.
Well, I often get like, I get given a hard time. Like, you turn pages so much that you need a page turning pedal. Yeah, I do. I do this all day. So I had to make a decision very quickly that it was more awkward for me to try to use the technology than it was for me to just manually the pages. So right away I made that decision. So again, it's just pivoting. And if I had other as prepared, that pivot could have been problematic. But because, and you know, I don't say this to, you know, I just say this to hopefully help someone else out there. Just do all the prep you can do so that when you're planning for the unexpected, you can rely on the things that you already have in place. So.
Well, and I think too, the other powerful lesson I've learned this from you, and we did it with the duck because we couldn't find it because I was looking in the wrong bag. So no surprise, I couldn't find a duck in the other bag.
It's your fault. I have more than one bag too. That's not
well,
true.
I also had 20 ducks, so I don't know, you know, anyway, but I think there's something to be said too for you and I've been doing this business of creating unforgettable experiences long enough that there are times when, like, I mean, there's been times, I mean, countless times where one of us just is like, no, we got to find the duck, got to find the duck, got to find the duck. Well, thank God we didn't. But at some point you're just like, and I remember looking through the bag and I had, just FYI, if your bag is a mess, that I call it a suitcase. I guess you call it a purse. But if your suitcase is in disarray, it's because I had taken everything out of your suitcase and I couldn't find the duck. But at one point it's kind of like, because what I could have done is I could have taken your keys. I could have walked all the way back to the parking lot. I could have, because I knew where the other box of ducks were. I could have picked up another duck to bring. But I'm like, okay, at some point you have to abandon and just go ahead and call the pivot, even though the pivot is kind of making itself very aware. Like, I think a lot of times I get so stubborn and I get so caught up because it was going to be a cute idea. We didn't think about the dogs, but I was so dead set on that duck squeaking. But then I knew that I just had to let it go. And I'm glad I did, again, because of the dog thing. But that's another thing, just like the pedal. I mean, you could have just fumbled with it and really try to make it work, or just kind of go, you know, I've got this thing here that I can't use and I'm just going to have to go to the backup thing. And I think there's a lot to be said. And we've had to do a lot of things like that where, it would be great if we could do that, but we can't.
It's hard to abandon. It's hard to abandon your idea because you've written it, you've practiced it. It's cute. It's going to land well. And in the end, though, it was the right decision. So we just had to kind of trust that things were falling into place. Yeah. So I guess we did have a couple things go wrong, but they were, I think, in the scheme of wrongness. I mean, I don't know that anything was missing aside from the duck, but I think the duck was the only thing missing.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of the things that have made this debrief better and cleaner is because we had debriefed along the way. So, but yeah. So anyway, that's just, unless you have any more rights, wrongs, missings, or confusings, Katie.
No, I'm really happy. I'm happy about the way that everything went. And I appreciate your, I just love your level of preparedness. I was telling Mo while we were driving to the wedding, I said, you know, the way that you prepare and practice has changed the way that I prepare and practice for everything now. Because it's easy. I mean, the bottom line, you and I both we would have enough natural skill at what we're doing to fly by the seat of our pants. And it would have been fine. But to go in and knowing that you're giving people your best because you've prepped enough. And I just think it says a lot for the love of the craft and the love of people, and they're deserving to have the best of what anybody has to offer. So we wanted to give them the best that we had to offer. So we prepared. So it really has changed the way that I look at preparing my stuff. Now, if I'm, you know, under prepared, I feel like really great. It's like, oh my gosh, I haven't practiced nearly enough because we just run our stuff a lot more, but it's a good process because you want to give people, they deserve your best. So,
and it just feels good because you get to enjoy the moment more. So
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. So. All right. Well, that's us debriefing, a little bit of insight into our process. And for those of you who think that we just take a stage or take the microphone and just go willy-nilly, please know that there is a lot of work behind the scenes and a lot of practice. But to my point, hopefully you can see that we both are enjoying ourselves as much as you are, because we want it to be an unforgettable experience for us too, but in a positive way. I mean, you can have some pretty bad experiences that are unforgettable. That's not what we're trying to do. But
we mean that in a good way.
Yeah. But
and we've got some shows coming up for the holidays. We're doing 2 of our Mo and Katy Show variety shows, our Thanksgiving shenanigans, and then we have a Christmas show coming up. And let me assure you, we are writing and practicing and troubleshooting for those,
and rewriting and rearranging. There are many Post-it notes. There are several grease boards, and there are a lot of dry erase pens, Sharpies, and fumes from dry erase pens and Sharpies.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in and letting us share our process. And Katy, thanks for letting us hot wash live like this, because that
absolutely.
I did forget about the mosquitoes. I did forget about the pedal.
Think my favorite sentence from the hot wash was, I took everything out of the suitcase and I still couldn't find the duck. I just think out of context, it's fantastic.
Perfect. We'll add that to the coloring book. And for those of you who don't know, we've also have a coloring book in the works. Urkel Durkel was among one of the first edits done, as well as Sloths Don't Fart. So let us know if you want a preview copy of a couple coloring book pages. I'm happy to share those to you. So, all right. I'll talk to you later, Katykins.
All right.
Okay. Bye.